Good morning or lunchtime. My stomach growls. There is a reason. It is lunchtime here in sunny Alberta, but snowy Alberta. Welcome. You have found Sarah Lynn Duque with Sarah Lynn Stamps. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And very, very soon, check back early January, I have a blog that is about ready to launch, and you are going to love it. There are so many fantastic tips and ideas and cards, etc., all there for you, nicely packaged in one location so they're easy to find. Anyways, I'm working hard on that, so come back soon and check on that. I wanted to take a minute to talk to you before we get into cards and coffee today about the upcoming catalog. So if you haven't got your copy yet, leave me a note below. If you don't have a demonstrator or you plan to shop with me here in Canada, I'd be happy to send you a catalog. We have a mini catalog that starts in January. It runs from January to June. And so this one is often a lot of sort of the springtime holidays, that sort of, oh, I'm not allowed to show you the inside till it launches. Pretend I didn't do that. I forgot. That is one of our Stampin' Up rules, but I can show you the stuff that I have. So I can't show you what's inside, but there's lots of beautiful things. Here's one example of a stamp set. Today we are going to be diving into the Blessings of Home stamp set, but I also wanted to mention that Celebration is back. So for some of you that have stamped and shopped with me for a while, you know Celebration is where you earn free stamp sets and paper for shopping. So for every $60 in Canada that you spend, you qualify for a Celebration item. So there are mostly all $60 items. So when you spend $60, you get to choose one item. There are a couple where you spend $120, so two increments of 60 together. And there are some larger things, which is one of the ones we're looking at today. That's a lie. I was working on a stamp set today on a swap with a stamp set out of here, and that was out of the 120. The card we're using today is from the mini catalog, the stamp set. It has nothing to do with Celebration, except that when you purchase it, you're going to get Celebration items. So this launches January 4th as well on my online store. So if you have any questions about that, or you need to get your hands on a catalog, drop me a note in the comments, send me a message. I'd be happy to do that anywhere in Canada. So Cards and Coffee is a time when we get together Wednesdays at noon to make a quick and easy card in about 15 minutes or less that are still stunning and gorgeous, things that you can have, ideas that you can have to throw together in seconds when you need a card in the last minute or when you just feel like crafting and you need a place to start. That's what we do here in Sarah Lynn Stamps. Besides making mistakes and me showing you how to fix them, that is my specialty, you'll all know. I just love to give you ideas, places where you can start, get some ideas, and launch off in your own way. So today we are going to start stamping with the Blessings of Home stamp set. So this stamp set here has some beautiful lined images and some corresponding sentiments. And I love sort of the script here. We've got kind of a typewriter script with some bolder wording in there as well. So this is a really nice one for simple stamping if you just want some lined images like we're going to do today. You could also watercolor, you can color with your stamping blends or your markers. There is so much that you can do with this, just the stamp set alone. But if that wasn't enough, there are coordinating dies. So if you have a Stampin' Cut and die machine, there are coordinating dies that go with this, and there are a lot of different foliage and flowers and different things that go with this, as well as the two to cut out the flowers here. So a lot of great things coming up. This is just one of many. So let's get started. Today we are going to be using, like I said, the Blessings of Home. You're going to need a basic gray ink pad, and part of this suite as well is designer series paper. So I have a couple of pieces out of that designer series paper, and isn't it pretty? It's got the pale papaya and the fresh freesia here mixed with the garden greens, and then on the back side of all the paper are sort of black and white images. So it's really quite versatile for all of your crafting, but we're going to use that today. And to get started, what we need is one scrap of paper, not one scrap. This measures 3 by 5.5. And you need one card base that measures 8.5 by 5.5. So let's just go ahead and measure this. Not measure. Let's just go ahead and fold this into the base here. So I'm just going to fold it in half. And this is just the thick basic white. Since I'm using it as my base, I really like the thick because it's going to hold up to the layers and that I add to the top of the card. So we have our card base. Let's set that aside. And then we are going to stamp on here. So the first image we're going to stamp are the flowers with the stem. Let me open up my basic gray. And again, I just click here at the top, flip it open, and give it a slide. And we're going to make sure that we ink this up really nicely. Just a couple tap, tap, taps. And I'm going to put this up towards the top of my card, just in the middle. Give it a little push. And that's all we're going to do. We're also going to stamp our sentiment, and I chose "Thank you for inspiring me." There's a lot of other sentiments that you could choose as well, but I'm going to just do the same thing here in the basic gray, and I'm going to stamp this down here towards the bottom of my card. Now, can you actually see? I'm going to just take a peek in my camera here and make sure that you were able to see what I was doing. I guess you could, kind of. Anyways, we stamped down here, people. We are done stamping, if you can believe it. So I am going to put this away before I get ink everywhere. And actually, I always keep a good stash of baby wipes on my desk because I get ink everywhere. Okay. All right, so let's set this aside. That's all the stamping that we have to do. Actually, let's add a little bit of ribbon to this while we're at it. So I am going to wrap a piece of ribbon. This is pale papaya. It's going to coordinate nicely with the paper here. You could use fresh freesia. You could use a white. You could use whatever you have on hand. I'm just going to cut a piece off. And on the back of my card, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm just going to add a couple little strips of Stampin' Seal. You could use mini glue dots as well. And then I'm just going to line this up and wrap it around sort of in the gap between where my flowers and my sentiment are, just like that. I'm going to cut it off sort of the excess here at the back. Now I need one more. Actually, we'll do the next part after. So let's start putting our card together. We are going to add this designer series paper to the front of our card, just like that. It's going to cover the whole front. So again, I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal. I just need to give it a little prime here by pulling it forward. And you can use, of course, the Tombow, the multi-purpose liquid glue, whatever adhesive you have on hand. I just like the Stampin' Seal. It's just quick and easy. But it doesn't give you a lot of room to move stuff around. Once you stick it down, you stuck it down. Okay, so on the back of this card, we also want to stick this little piece. So again, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to this side. And then I'm going to just stick this down so that just a portion of it is showing. Just like that. And then just kind of line it up. And if you've got it so it doesn't measure quite right, that's okay. We're just going to take our scissors and give it a little trim. There we go. Okay. All right, so now we just need to adhere this to the front of our card. So this is where you can decide if you want to add dimensionals to give it a little bit of a lift. I think that always adds a little bit of a nice interest to your card. But because we've got so much color and pattern going on, I think I'm just going to stick with simple. And I'm just going to adhere it straight down to the card front. So again, let me just give this a little bit of prime by sliding that forward with my finger. Sometimes it doesn't just like to... It kind of pulls back. I find the adhesive gets stuck on here and then it just kind of pulls it back when you stop using it. So sometimes you have to just prime it a little bit. Okay, so we're going to stick this a little bit farther to the right hand side. Just like this. Line it up with the top and the bottom. Okay, and now we just want to finish off our bow. So the way we could have just tied a bow, but this way is really easy to do. I have another little strip here of the pale papaya. I'm going to tuck it underneath. And I'm just going to really take it and tie it into a knot. It gives me a little bit more flexibility of where I want to put it. One, and because I can just slide it along my ribbon. And two, I can just give it a nice tie here. And it looks like a bow. It's kind of, I call it a faux bow. And then we're just going to trim it down. I'm just going to have little tails on this bow. Whoopsies. Just like that. So again, if you wanted it in the middle or wherever, you just slide it along. But I'm going to leave it right here on the left-hand side. And there is our simple stamping card. Isn't that just pretty? I think that just the really basic colors here of stamping without coloring and whatnot. Looks really nice because of sort of the vibrant colors in the paper. It's almost monochromatic with touches of the green and the pale papaya. But I wanted to show you, if you wanted to step this card up a little bit more, what you could do is you could use your die cuts and you could cut out your flowers. So I added some pale, what is that called? Pool Party Blue behind, just with my Stampin' blend. I just colored that in. You could watercolor it as well. And then I die cut out a flower that was stamped on a scrap piece of paper and colored that with my blends as well. And I also added, aren't these gorgeous? Look at these brushed butterflies. These are stunning, and they are coming out in the new mini catalog. They're probably one of my favorites because they're flat, so they don't like take up, they don't cause too much bulk. They lay nice, but they're just such a beautiful touch of metallic on there. Anyway, so if you wanted to stamp it up, you could do that. And you could also, once again, I've just lifted that up on dimensionals, but you could do the same thing with your panel, put that up on dimensionals too. And that alone would make a really beautiful change to your card. So there you have it, a couple of ideas. One is basic. I don't know which one you like better, or maybe you like them both. They're just kind of different. And one is if you wanted to spend a little bit more time, or if you're a colorer. Some of you I know love to color and some of you don't. So then we have two options here. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me. Watch back here. I will be making an announcement very shortly about my blog, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. I've been working really hard on it. So yeah, happy stamping. I hope you're enjoying your holidays and getting some downtime and enjoying a little bit of that time in your craft room. If you have any questions or you need any of the supplies that you saw today, let me know. Give me a thumbs up like this and share with your friends, and we will talk to you soon. Happy stamping!